What's up guys, Doug Polk here, and today we're going to be taking a closer look at the project Tezos, as well as go in depth into the drama that's currently happening right now. The crazy thing about all this drama was Tezos at the time was the largest ICO fundraiser of all time. It's not like this just happened in some small project. This happened with one of the biggest ones that there was out there. Let's kick things off by answering this simple question. What exactly is Tezos? Tezos is a project that began back in 2014, and after a round or two of securing some private funding, eventually did a public crowd sale to try and finance itself for the next few years. Tezos is a decentralized blockchain that governs itself by establishing a true digital commonwealth. Tezos seeks to add security to transactions through a process called formal verification. This formal verification technique boosts the security of the most sensitive or financially weighted smart contracts. Essentially what this boils down to is Tezos is a project where using its own blockchain, they're attempting to increase the security on important transactions. When we look at the nature of transactions online in cryptocurrency, oftentimes they're for a lot of money, and also sometimes you don't even know who you're sending to. So when you look at these transactions, improving the security based around them does make a lot of sense and has a lot of demand. We've seen many funds stolen or lost due to various things that have happened with different currencies, and so Tezos is a project that was trying to fix some of that. The Tezos blockchain was primarily being developed by Dynamic Ledger Solutions, which is a US-based company co-founded by Kathleen and Arthur Brightman. It's no surprise to me that Tezos managed to get a lot of traction when you look at the credentials that come with these two people. Arthur was born in France and educated at a university that I'm not able to pronounce, but he studied math, physics, and computer science. He then went on to a career in quantitative finance, including positions at Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Kathleen holds a BA from Cornell University and worked at the Wall Street Journal, Bridgewater Associates, Accenture, and R3 prior to Tezos. Kathleen met Arthur at a crypto anarchist meetup in New York in 2010, and they've been together ever since. Needless to say, these are some badasses in cryptocurrency, and they set out to try and start Tezos. When Arthur and Kathleen started Tezos, they realized early on that a lot of the decentralized currencies end up having some form of centralization because of who ends up running the nodes or who has governance over the protocol of the currency. Essentially, in cases like Bitcoin or Ethereum, the core development team or the miners have ended up having a lot more power than they should, and that in and of itself is centralization. Over 3 years of development from 2014 to 2017, the Tezos team sought to address these problems with some innovative solutions to avoid that degree of centralization. Going into the summer of last year, Tezos was seeking to raise a lot of money to continue its development. And this is where I think they made their first and really main critical mistake with the development of the Tezos Foundation. Tezos founders thought it would be beneficial for the Tezos network if a nonprofit foundation could guide its early steps and complement the decentralized nature of its governance model. The Tezos Foundation is an independent Swiss entity whose goal is to promote and foster the use of the Tezos blockchain, its technology, and its ongoing development. The foundation is headed by Johann Gevers. I would say that Arthur and Kathleen are taking decentralization to the next level. The Tezos Foundation is essentially a third-party organization that was there to hold the money that was going to be fundraised over the summer and additionally help the initial steps of Tezos. You might be asking yourself, why give a third-party organization the ability to control the money for your project? And I've got no fucking idea why they did that. You're essentially making somebody else extremely powerful over your project with the money you raised. And why? This makes no sense to me. One reason that they maybe did it was to show oversight of the project so that the public knew that good things were going on, or maybe they just didn't want to show that they might be doing scammy things with their ICO like many other projects. But the point remains, they basically created a third party and gave them all the money. Over the summer, almost $230 million in funds were raised at that time, worth a now estimated roughly $1 billion given the rise in both Ethereum price and Bitcoin. So they gave this money to the foundation and everything worked out great. All right, guys, good video. Everybody's happy. I'll see you later. Get the fuck out of here. $1 billion. You gave somebody else $1 billion fucking dollars. $1 billion with a B. Another thing that I find just baffling here is you're against centralization. Why put all of your money in the hands of one person? Why not have several different people acting as different foundations or different aspects of the foundation or whatever? Why would you have a central point of failure on your massive decentralized project? I mean, this is just goddamn unbelievable. If this isn't irony, I don't know what is. The largest project ever attempting to decentralize important financial transactions to increase security doesn't have access to their funding because they centralized access to their financial transactions. That happened. That's what we're talking about today. Johan Gavers is the head of the foundation and has been taking a lot of scrutiny for the way he's handled the situation over the past 6 months. After the fundraising in July 2017, Tezos used a PR firm, Strange Brew, who made false claims to journalists that big US firms were already working with them. An article from them states the foundation gave the appearance that the Brightmans wanted to cash out without getting their hands dirty in Switzerland. It was at this time that the Brightmans sought to out Gavers and assert more authority over the foundation. Gavers has stated that the Brightmans were unwilling to let the foundation operate independently, as is laid out under Swiss law. It was at this time the Brightmans accused Gavers of helping himself to a bonus out of the ICO proceeds of cash and Bitcoin. They levied this accusation on a blog post on Medium. Now we start to see a little bit of a power struggle happening within Tezos. The original founders and developers upset that Gavers is operating in a way they don't approve of, which they gave him the power to do, but he probably is misusing. And Gavers being angry at the Brightmans for basically, not allowing him to operate in the way that they set him up to operate. Until January 2018, Gavers has mostly kept his comments the same. The Brightmans are unwilling to let us operate independently as we are allowed under Swiss law. It's also worth noting that a company Johan Gavers founded, Monedas, filed for bankruptcy in December 2017. Not a good look. This is being used by the Tezos community to, quote, prove he is an ineffective leader. I don't think having a project fail makes you an ineffective leader. What I would be more worried about is if you have projects going bankrupt while he's got hundreds of millions of dollars, questions have to be raised as to what's happening with the funds. Certainly over this period of time, there's no way the Gavers would ever touch the money in those accounts. You could see it. There are public ledgers for things like Bitcoin, so there's no way he'd remove that money. That would add tons of speculation as to what he's doing, which is why in October 2017, Gavers indicated that the foundation would slowly sell the cryptos held at a rate of about 10.2 million a week. You can't make this shit up. So Gavers has this money and he's selling it off to be redistributed into an undisclosed portfolio, so we don't actually know what the money is going into. Sounds legit. This entire process has taken quite a toll on the Tezos community. Remember, these are people that invested in this. These are people that, that money didn't just come from thin air. It came from people, and those people are the Tezos community. Stop for a moment and think about, what if this was your money at stake? What if you invested $10,000 or $100,000 and you had to watch this happen? It's got to be unbelievably brutal for the people that are in that community. Which is why on December 4th, the community got together to start a petition. The Tezos Foundation exists to enable the vision outlined in the Tezos white paper. Given the behavior and inaction of the current board, we fail to see how they can satisfy this obligation. We wish the best for Mr. Gavers in his future endeavors, but changes need to be made immediately to the Foundation's board for it to fulfill its mission. We request that each board member consider the following as it determines the Foundation's future. This has to be the most sarcastic "we wish the best for someone" of all time. I want you to give us back $1 billion and get the fuck out. But I wish you the best on your future endeavors. Gavers be like, BRB. The petition requested many different things, including these. Regardless of the current state or outcome of the audit, the immediate resignation or dismissal of Mr. Gavers. The community no longer has confidence in his leadership. Immediate clarification on whether Mr. Gavers did or did not attempt to pay himself $750,000 of some currency, and whether he represented his bonus as being worth $300,000 of some other currency. That's right. On top of it, there are now allegations that he's being paid out of the Foundation's money. This is just this story is just so unreal. Maybe the most notable investor for Tezos is Tim Draper, who is a billionaire from his investments. Tim Draper was an early investor in Tezos and owns a minority stake in the firm. In an email to Bloomberg News, Draper said he gave suggestions for who could replace Gavers after the founders asked him to, quote, look for a high integrity board member to replace the one who seems to be grabby. He also said, I'm still enthusiastic about the creativity that ICOs bring to society and the progress these entrepreneurs can make, but teams need to do careful planning to manage people's expectations in the case that the token is popular. The Tezos team is awesome, and I have complete confidence in their ability to execute and create an amazing platform. Tim Draper does seem to still be pro Tezos, but it's unclear exactly what's going to be happening when it comes to Gavers and the money. Gavers recently took to Twitter. He's been generally silent, but he broke his silence in January, tweeting out several different things. To be clear, the Tezos Foundation is a Swiss foundation based in Crypto Valley, Switzerland, and its top leadership teams will be heavily Swiss-weighted. Physical proximity and cultural fit is especially important initially to build trust and productive working relationships. After months of incapacitating interference, obstruction, and attacks, the Tezos Foundation has regained the ability to act. Further announcements coming soon. For those seeking to understand what happened at Tezos, both its successes and its failures. What successes? In a high trust environment, the impossible becomes possible. In a low trust environment, even the possible becomes impossible. I mean, you gotta give this guy a little credit. He's just straight out here trolling people on $1 billion. That takes some balls. Now that we have regained the ability to act, the Tezos Foundation is building a world-class team to execute its mission. We are recruiting proven achievers in 3 categories: 1 board, 2 advisors, 3 executive team, complemented by top-tier professional service providers. It does not appear to me like Gavers thinks that he is going anywhere despite community outrage. So what's going to happen here? Before concluding this video, I do want to bring to light that there are a lot of lawsuits going on with Tezos. They have a class action being filed against them in California that they marketed their tokens as securities, but they are unregistered with the SEC. The class action lawsuit includes unregistered offer and sale of securities, fraud in the offer or sales of securities, false advertising, unfair competition, and alter ego liability. They actually have another couple of lawsuits in California, as well as one in Florida as well. So they have a lot going on the legal front, not just when it comes to the Tezos Foundation, but also battling things out in the courts. There was a lot of drama going on, but what about Tezos itself? Where are the Tezzies at? Let me see some Tezzies. It's a pretty sweet name for the tokens. It currently seems unlikely that they're going to be released anytime soon, and it's not exactly clear what's going on with the development team. Now, Arthur did make a statement on YouTube recently talking about some of the development aspects,
so
but
like I said last
notably
week,
did not
I'm
talk
not going to
about
go through the
what's
list of
going
all the
on with the
comments that
Tezos
we have,
Foundation, which is maybe making people question what the future holds. We don't know at this point what Gavers exactly plans on doing, but there's no doubt in my mind that the community is upset with the way that he's handling himself given his position. I think it's time to get some fresh blood in there in that spot for the Tezos Foundation, and frankly, I don't really see why they had the foundation at all to begin with. The number one most important thing for Tezos is to let people know what happened. So get out there with the hashtag #SaveTezos and get people involved in what's happened here, because the more people that do know about this, the more pressure will be put on Gavers to make the right decision. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon.